Hi there. Hope you have a fantastic day today. This lesson, I will teach you applications of the sum and the products of the roots of a cubic equations. Of course, there is a PDF file versions on the description below for you to download so you can work with me. Otherwise, let's go straight into it. First one. For the cubic equation, x to the power 3 plus mx squared plus 11x plus n equals 0, find the values of m and n if the roots are consecutive positive integers. So first of all, we know that the roots are alpha, beta, and gamma. So there are three roots. And we know that they are consecutive integers. So this means that if we have alpha, so the next consecutive number or integers should be alpha plus 1. And then gamma, it should be alpha plus 1 plus another 1. So that means alpha plus 2. So they are the roots, okay? So beta is alpha plus 1. Gamma is alpha plus 2, if you like. So first of all, we know the sum of the three roots are, so we go alpha plus beta plus gamma is equal to negative b over a. And we know that in the cubic equations, so we have a, the coefficient of x to the power 3, so that is equal to 1, and b is the coefficients of x squared, so that is m. So let me just write this down, equal to m. And c is coefficients of x, so that is 11. So c is 11. And then we have d is the last term, so that is n. So let me just write this down. So there you go. So alpha plus beta plus gamma. And we know that beta is alpha plus 1. And then we have gamma is alpha plus 2. So let me just write this down. So that will give me alpha plus beta. So that is alpha plus 1. And we add gamma. And gamma is alpha plus 2. Alpha plus 2. Which is equal to negative b over a. And we know that negative b, that is, b is m. So therefore, negative m over a. So negative m, which is m over a, and a is 1. So that is negative m. So let me just clear this. So that's equal to negative m. Then we just simplify a bit further. So we have 1 alpha plus another 1 plus another 1. So that is 3 alpha. So that means, let me just move this up a bit. So 3 alpha we add, and 1 plus 2 is 3. So we add 3. So that give me negative m. So we just leave that for now. So let me just name these equations number 1. And we know that the sum of the products of the roots is this. So alpha times beta plus alpha times gamma plus beta gamma is equal to c over a. Okay, so keep that in mind. And don't forget, beta is alpha plus 1. And gamma is alpha plus 2. So let me just replace those first. So that is alpha times alpha plus 1, because beta is alpha plus 1. Don't forget. And then we add alpha gamma. And gamma is alpha plus 2. And then we have plus beta, that is alpha plus 1. And then we have gamma. Gamma is alpha plus 2. And equal c over a. And we know that a is 1. C is 11. So that means 11 over 1. And 11 over 1 is 11. So I just write 11. 11. So keep that in mind. So let me just expand the brackets and I simplify. Okay. So let me just move this up. And this should give me, I times this together. So that will give me alpha squared plus alpha. Because this alpha times 1 is alpha. And we times this, that give me alpha squared plus 2 alpha. So we add alpha squared plus 2 alpha. And then we're going to remove this bracket. So that times that, give me alpha squared. And this time together, alpha times 2, that is 2 alpha. And we're gonna go 1 times alpha is alpha. And 1 times 2 give me 2. So we add 2. And that will give me 11. So there you go. So now what I do is I just simplify by collecting the like terms. So we have alpha square, alpha square, alpha square. And we add them up, give me 3 alpha square. Let me just write this down. So that is 3 alpha square. And now I just collect this, okay? Alpha plus 2 alpha, so 3 alpha. And we add another 2, that will give me 5. And add another one, that's give me 6. So that is equal to 6 alpha. So we add 6 alpha. And now what we do, let me just write this down first. So plus 2 is equal to 11. And if I move this 11 on this side, becomes negative. So 2 minus 11. So 2 minus 11 is negative 9. So let me just write this down. So that is 3 alpha square plus 6 alpha minus 9 is equal to 0. So now what I do is I just need to solve these quadratic equations. And we know that 3, 6, and 9, the common factor is 3. Let me just divide by 3 first, okay, to simplify these equations further. So I divide this by 3. So that will give me alpha square. We add 6 divided by 3 is 2. So 2 alpha. And 9 divided by 3 is 3. So 3 equals 0. Now to factorize this, don't forget we have a negative here. So that should be a positive and a negative, okay? Or a negative and a positive, doesn't matter how you write it. So alpha plus alpha minus equals 0. And we know that two numbers times together to give me 3. And the difference is 2. So it should be 1 and 3. But then positive 2. Okay, this is positive 2 here. So it should be 3 and negative 1. So we'll put 3 there and negative 1 here. There you go. So now alpha is equal to negative 3 or alpha is equal to 1. But then in here, the question said that the roots are consecutive and positive integers. So therefore, we only have this one here. Okay, so we ignore the negative. So therefore, alpha is 1. And we know that they're consecutive. And the next root is alpha plus 1. So that is beta equal 1 plus 1 is 2. And the next one, that is gamma, is equal to 3. Because they are consecutive integers. So there you go. So that we have alpha beta now. But then we need to find the value of m and n here. Now, then if you look at this, we have equation number 1 here. Don't forget. So if we substitute alpha into equation number 1, so let me just write this down first, okay? From equation number 1, we have 3 alpha square plus alpha is equal to negative m. Let me just double check. So that's right, 3 alpha plus 3 equal negative m. Sorry, it's 3 there. So let's name this equation number 1. So now alpha equal 1, so that means 3 lots of 1 square, which is 1 anyway. And we add 3 lots of 1, which is 3, is equal to negative m. And 3 plus 3 is 6. So m is equal to negative 6. Because, let me just write this down first. So 6 is negative m. So therefore, m is negative 6. There you go. So now we need to find the value of n. And we know that for n, we don't have any equation there just yet. And we know that the product of the roots alpha, beta, and gamma is equal to negative d over a. Okay, keep that in mind. And we know that d is on here. D is n. So now we just substitute that in. So n, so that means negative n over a. And a is 1. So therefore, we just write negative n we do. So that is negative n. And alpha is 1. Beta is 2. Okay. And gamma is 3. Because they are consecutive integers. So therefore, 1 times 2 times 3, that gives me 6. So therefore, n is equal to negative 6. So there you go. So let me just write this down. So therefore, the value of m, so which is m, is equal to negative 6, and n is negative 6. So there you go. Please pause the video and try this one yourself. Hi there, I'm back. How do you go? So let me just go through it with you, okay? Before I do that, please do not forget to give me a thumb up and subscribe if you haven't done so you can help me to grow my channel. So let's get into it. So first of all, we know that I is 1 because I is the coefficient of x to the power of 3. And then B is equal to P because B is the coefficient of x squared. So that is P. And C is equal to the coefficient of x, so that is Q. And D is the constant, that is 3. And there are 3 roots. So there are alpha, beta, and gamma. And however, we know that one of the root is negative 3. So let's say alpha equal negative 3. So this alpha here is negative 3. And the 2 other roots are equal. So this means that beta is equal to gamma. So let me just write beta and beta instead, okay? So we're just using this to work it out, okay? So first of all, we know that, let me move this up. So we know that alpha plus beta plus gamma is equal to negative b over a. And we know that alpha is equal to negative 3, beta is equal to gamma. So I can just write negative 3 plus beta is equal to negative. Now b is p here. So let me write it down. And I is equal to 1. So negative p over 1, okay, which is negative p. So you can write like that. Let me just simplify this. So that will give me negative 3 plus 2 beta is equal to negative p. And we can't do anything for now. So let me just name this equation number 1. So there you go. And the next step is we know that alpha, beta, we add alpha, gamma, plus beta, gamma is equal to C over I. And we know that C is Q here. So I is 1. So Q over 1 is Q. So let me just write this down. So let me write Q first, okay, before I forget. And alpha is negative 3. So negative 3 beta plus negative 3 times gamma. But gamma is also equal to beta. So let me just write minus, because alpha is negative 3, times beta, because gamma is equal to beta. And when we plus beta times gamma, and gamma is equal to beta as well. So beta times beta is beta squared. So there you go. Let me simplify this. So that will give me negative 6 beta. We add beta squared is equal to Q. So there you go. And we have 2 equations. So let me just name this down. This is equation number 2. And the third one is alpha times beta times gamma is equal to negative D over A. And don't forget, alpha is negative 3. So therefore, beta times gamma, that is becomes beta squared, because gamma is equal to beta. So with beta times beta is beta squared. And D is 3. So don't forget, okay, D is equal to 3. So let me replace this. So negative 3 over 1, because I is 1. So therefore, negative 3 over 1 is negative 3. So now we can just solve these equations. If I divide it by negative 3 on both sides, so I divide this by negative 3, and I divide this by negative 3, that cancel out. So this means that beta square is equal to 1. So beta square is equal to 1. And I square root both sides, so it will give me beta is equal to negative 1 or positive 1, right? So let me just write this down. So this means that beta is equal to negative 1 or beta is equal to positive 1. And we know that the roots are positive. So therefore, we can ignore negative 1. So let me just write this down. So therefore, we know that alpha is negative 3 and the beta is equal to 1. And alpha is equal to beta. So that means alpha is also equal to 1. So there you go. But then what we need to find is we need to find the value of P and Q. So therefore, we have this equation here. This equation here, equation number 1. So negative 3 plus 2 beta is equal to negative P. Let me just write this down, okay, from equation number 1. Negative 3 plus 2 beta is equal to negative P. So that is P. So therefore, beta is equal to 1. So that means negative 3 plus 2 beta, that is 2 times 1 is 2, equal negative P. So therefore, negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. So negative 1 is equal to negative P. So therefore, P is equal to 1. So there you go. P is equal to 1. Then we need to find the value of Q. So Q is here. So we have this equation here. There you go. That is Q. So let me just write this down. So negative 6 beta. So negative 6 beta with plus beta square is equal to Q. Let me double check. Yes, that's right. Now we just substitute beta into this equation. So this is equation number 2. Don't forget. So we know that beta is equal to 1, right? From here. So now we just substitute that in there. So that means negative 6 times 1 give me negative 6. And we add 1 square give me 1 and equal Q. So therefore, that give me negative 5 is equal to Q. So therefore, P is equal to 1 and Q is equal to negative 5. So there you go. I hope you got it correct. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.